Welcome back to Mae Sot, Thailand. It is March 27th today, Friday, I think. And I just have a couple of errands to run here in town. So I'm heading out for a walk. The main thing I need to do is get more internet data. And when I came to Thailand, I picked up a SIM card from this company called True Move. It just seemed to be the most convenient for foreigners. So I got this a SIM card, and then at 7-Eleven, they have the possibility of buying data chunks at a time. I use up a lot of data, so I generally go for like 15 gigabytes, and it costs 175 baht. And what is that, $6 or $7 US for 15 gigabytes? One thing about my hotel, unfortunately, is that since my last visit, they stopped supplying Wi-Fi. I mean, they have Wi-Fi down in the lobby area, but up in the rooms, the signal doesn't carry there. So if you want access to the internet, you have to use your phone as a mobile hotspot, which is what I've been doing. So far it works out okay. I guess the theme will continue to be, changes around me since the coronavirus has hit. One change I already noticed, I walked by this pharmacy that's right around the corner from my hotel, and I noticed that they had built like a plastic bubble around the counter. So they sealed the whole thing off with big sheets of plastic, and then they cut a little hole in the bottom, where goods and money can be passed through. So you can't go inside the pharmacy anymore. You can only go into this one area that's completely sealed off, and you have to tell the pharmacist or the clerk what you want. They get it and put it through that little hole down at the bottom, and then you put your money through that hole as well, and that's how you have to shop. I haven't fully decided what I'm going to do, with my situation with visas expiring and flights and passports. But it's looking more and more like I'm going to be staying in Mae Sot for, the month of April, I guess. That's when the restrictions go now up until the end of April. And it just seems like the wisest course of action to stay here. And if I do that, I was thinking maybe it would be a good idea to buy something to cook with, just like a pot that can boil water, and then I can boil spaghetti and soup, heat up soup in my room. So I thought I might pop into a couple of these hardware stores or home appliance stores and just sort of see what they have. And there's one right across the road. What's it called? Saijo Denki, maybe? I don't know. Well, let's see if they have anything on offer. Hello. Yeah, I've walked by this store dozens of times, I think, but I've never actually gone inside. Okay. Got kettles, of course. Well, that first errand worked out really well. That shop I went into had a big selection of all kinds of things. They had a kettle, like kind of similar to the kettle I have, except it's a little bit bigger and designed a little bit more for cooking as well as boiling water. Has little attachments inside where you can, boil eggs and things like that, and that would be quite handy. And then they had much bigger units, had more of a like a wok inside instead of a pot, kind of more for stir-fry vegetables and cooking and noodles. And the sales clerk indicated that it could be used to boil water, like to actually boil spaghetti and stuff like that. but I don't really know for sure how that would work out. Yeah, they're not that expensive, 500-600 baht. And then he said there, of course, there'll be a discount if I want to buy one, so maybe 450 or something like that. But yeah, it's kind of a nice idea, perhaps. And I'm back at my 7-Eleven. Here I'm going to buy some data. When you do that, you have to type your phone number into a little machine at the cash register, and then the data gets applied to your phone. So let's go in and take care of that. All right, successful. I have 15 gigabytes of data. You can choose whether it's valid for 5 days or for 10 days, and the price goes up or down accordingly. The longer you want the data to last, the more expensive it is. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more changes. In 7-Eleven, they now have a sign at every cash register in Thai and in English, requesting everyone to wear a mask, before they go into the store. And of course, they have the hand sanitizer at the front of the store, and you can sanitize your hand going in. I think the clerks at the store kind of appreciate that, because they're dealing with people all day long. Hundreds and hundreds of people go in and out. And I think if they see you, sanitize your hand when you go in, it just makes them feel more comfortable. Oh, there's another restaurant here. You can see they're serving people outside, and all the seating on the inside is closed. Hello, how are you? Hi. It also looks like more and more businesses are closed. This street is actually not that busy normally. These might have been closed anyway, but I'm just sort of seeing a lot more shuttered businesses and shops than before. Feels that way anyway. Ah, look at that, a bicycle shop. And this is one of the fancier places in Mae Sot. According to the sign there, it's called the Teak. And they have a very nice restaurant, bistro, something like that over here. Still open. You can sit outside there, have a nice drink. Yeah, it looks beautiful. I guess I have a couple of stories to tell. One is that when I was reading all these articles about all the borders that are closing and options of, countries that, I could be able to go to when my visa expires, I came across a lot of stories about Canada as well. And one thing going on in Canada, at least according to the articles, is that the government is organizing all these repatriation flights, because Canadians on holiday during the winter have gotten stranded all over the place, basically, as airlines cancel flights. And even if they have the money to get home, they can't find any flights. So I saw all these articles about the largest repatriation effort in Canadian history or something like that. So I started thinking, hey, would the Canadian government be sending one of these planes to Bangkok or something like that? But when I started reading about it, all these flights were heading to the Caribbean, South America, Central America, Spain, Morocco. I didn't see any flights heading to Asia, not to anywhere in Asia. And that didn't surprise me. Anyway, that wasn't the story I wanted to tell. The story I wanted to tell was that I was reading all these articles about Canada and Canadians who were stranded overseas trying to get home, all this kind of stuff. And in all these articles, there were links to a government website where if you're a Canadian overseas, you can register who you are, your trip dates, and where you're going, all that kind of thing, for emergencies. And I don't think I've ever done that before, because for extended time overseas, it's not really designed for that. It's meant for people taking, 2-week vacation or something like that. But since I had all this information right there and it was so easy to do, I thought, okay, I'll do it. Clicked on the link, and then I registered with the Canadian government, giving them, you know, my passport number, my location, and email address, and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, we'll see what happens, you know. Maybe I'll get this email from the Canadian government saying, you know, Mr. Nienhuis, we have a jet coming to Bangkok to take you home. I'm like, if that happened, I'd be, yeah, okay, that sounds pretty cool. Of course, I'm not expecting that at all. But to my surprise, last night I got an email. You know, my phone beeped, and I thought, who the heck is that? And it was from the Canadian Embassy in Bangkok, and it was an email. That was kind of interesting. So I thought, hey, what do they have to say? I opened up the email, and my goodness, that was the longest, most comprehensive, detailed email in 2 languages, you know, all in English and then all in French, that I've ever received in my life. It was amazing how much they jammed into that email. But when you read through the whole thing, it boiled down to 2 points. Point number 1 is that they were saying all Canadians should go home, or should go back to their country, go back to Canada right away. And point number 2 basically was, well, for you to go back to Canada is going to be very difficult, very expensive, and probably next to impossible, but you should do it anyway. You know, that was the gist of the email. And by the time you'd read through everything it had to say, man, you'd think the entire world had come to an end. It was a frightening email to read. So it's kind of nice to be out here in Mae Sot, walking around again and just having this semblance of, okay, the world is still here, you know, there are issues to deal with, but it's not like in 10 seconds the sun is going to go out and we're all going to die, you know. And when you read that email, that's kind of the feeling you were left with. I just had a funny little experience there, I suppose. Shows how dumb my brain can be. Just walking by a little fruit stand there, I picked up my, I don't know, maybe we could call this my second favorite food in the entire world, bananas. Number 1, cornflakes. I'm just a total cornflake addict, love cornflakes. And then if you cut up a banana on top of a big bowl of cornflakes, I'm very happy. So anyway, I'm at the fruit stand, and I like that fruit stand because they actually put prices on the bundles, you know, so this big bundle of bananas actually had a price tag on it, so I knew exactly how much they wanted. And in fact, I ended up getting a discount for this whole bag of maybe 20 bananas. It said 50 baht, but I ended up paying 30 baht for it. So $1 for all these bananas. It's kind of cool. But the funny thing is that the whole time that I was dealing with this woman and, you know, paying for the bananas, I was smiling at her. I was giving her my usual goofy foreigner grin, you know, just trying to be overly friendly to make up for my foreignness, I guess. So I'm smiling at her. And then I suddenly realized that underneath the mask, she can't see whether I'm smiling or not, you know? She has no idea what I'm doing with my mouth. So I had to think, I wonder if I have mastered the art of smiling with my eyes, you know? Can she see that I'm friendly just from my eyes, you know? So maybe that's a skill you have to develop when you're consistently wearing a face mask like this. Well, it looks like Borderline is closed right now, so I wasn't able to stop there for a cup of coffee, but I did stop by the hostel again, and yeah, I had another really interesting conversation. There's another foreigner staying there, and he had a really interesting story to tell because he came from Myanmar yesterday. he just crossed the border. And I was amazed at that. It's like, how can you cross the border from Myanmar into Thailand? You know, I thought that would be impossible. But he's one of these lucky guys with 2 passports. He has a Thai passport and a Swiss passport. So when he went to Myanmar, he just happened to get his Myanmar visa on his Thai passport, and that allowed him to cross the border into Thailand. He's also quite interesting because he's traveling by bicycle. He's what you call a bike packer, which means that he travels very lightweight. In the old days, with a bicycle, you would have all these big bags on your bike. You know, you have 4 pannier bags. But there's a new trend called bike packing. And the idea is to put very, very small, light bags on your bike. And that's what he's doing. Yeah, he falls right into that category of all these super relaxed travelers that I've been meeting lately. You know, as I said, I tend to be a little bit too organized perhaps, but he's riding his bike, very little luggage. He's got nothing with him at all, you know, just a hat and a t-shirt, and away he goes. And he sleeps at temples most of the time. You know, he just rides his bike in Myanmar. And then he can go to a temple and stay there at night and then keep going. So yeah, it was interesting to hear his story. He did have some issues crossing the border that they wanted proof of a few different things. Flight out of the country, even though he had a Thai passport or something like that. No, I think what they wanted him to do was fly into Thailand. Because he had a Thai passport, he could come back into the country, but they didn't want him to go across the land border. They wanted him to fly in. And then he goes through all the health checks and quarantine and all that kind of stuff at the airport. So they tried to say he couldn't cross at the land border, but he made a case that he had a flight, but then all these flights were canceled and they wouldn't give him a refund. So now he doesn't have enough money to get a new flight, you know, all that kind of stuff. And he's traveling by bicycle and he's there at the border, and he was the only person there. And eventually they, kind of unlocked the office, you know, where they have the immigration desk, and then they stamped him back into Thailand, you know. So, yeah, he was very happy about that. Well, since I couldn't go to Borderline for a coffee, I'm going to go back to the bubble milk tea where I went yesterday. It's just over here in front of the 7-Eleven. Where is it? Ah, there it is over there. And this one here that has the orange signage. Not sure what it's called in English. Oh, Gorgeous. Gorgeous coffee. So let's get another bubble milk tea. Here's everything I can get. And I'm going to get this one here. Simple Taiwan milk tea. You can't see it, but I'm smiling ear to ear, very excited with my new bubble milk tea. They also have a hand sanitizer, of course, there at the counter. And I've gotten in the habit now of giving myself a squirt and making it very clear that I'm sanitizing my hands and things like that. Because I know that there is some, concern about foreigners. So if I'm sanitizing my hand, I make sure everyone sees me do it, just so that they can feel more comfortable dealing with me. Something else interesting, when I was talking to the cyclist from Switzerland and Thailand, he was talking about some of the, unexpected positive side effects of all these shutdowns and lockdowns. He said he's been here and in Chiang Mai, almost his whole life at this time of year, in the month of March. And he said in March, you would never see the sky up there because of all the pollution. It would normally be totally smoggy and you wouldn't see any blue skies. And right now, as you can see, maybe you can see in the GoPro, it's beautiful blue skies all over the place. Yeah, it's very nice, nice weather. And I think that is it for today's small adventures. Pretty productive outing, I guess. You know, I got my bubble milk tea, found out how expensive a cooking pot would be, and seems like it might be a nice option if I'm going to stay here for a month or something like that. And just walking around, seeing the rest of the city. Oh, got my data for the internet, so I'm all set. All right, that's it for today, and I will see you in the next video.